for collectors and action figure fans? It's the one and only Optibotimus coming at you with another video review. And on today's episode, we're going to be taking a look at the new TakaraTomy Transformers Legends 46 of TargetMaster Kup. Now, when we first saw pictures of this guy, there was both a lot of excitement and some disappointment. The excitement came from the fact that there was some really cool changes in terms of the molding done to this guy from the previous released Sergeant Kup from the Titans Return line. He gets a much more streamlined and cartoon accurate looking shoulder assembly, as well as a completely new Headmaster, which again is much more cartoon accurate. Now, what really put some people off was the way that the color looked. Initially, he looked very gray, and a lot of the pictures that are still out there has him looking like that. But I am absolutely thrilled at the fact that he has more of that kind of green-gray color that he had in the films and cartoon. A lot of times when there is a animation accurate release and a toy accurate release, I don't mind all that much. But what really sold me on this guy was the new head and shoulder look. For the package, you got all that Takara stuff all over. You got TakaraTomy, you got a nice image of TargetMaster Kup. And because he is a Target Master, he comes with his Target Master, that being Recoil, which is awesome. You come around here to the back, a whole bunch of stuff that I can't read, and none of it really seems like something that I want to translate. It's Target Master, robot mode, vehicle mode, probably just warnings and stuff. You do get some crazy little cartoon images of the Beast Wars characters, like there's Rhinox, the little baby Cheetor. Look, a little baby Cheetor. It's the baby. The Cheetor baby. And Rat Trap is huge for some reason. And look, they're all playing with their toys. That's adorable. And then, look, Twitter. At TF_PR. Okay, whatever. You got a nice top section here that just shows that kind of stuff. On the bottom, again, this just looks like warning, so I'm not going to really bother with that too much. But for the packaging on this guy, that's about it. So without further ado, let's get him out here and see how cool he actually is. Alright guys, so here we have TargetMaster Kup opened up and out of his packaging. Now you do get an instruction sheet with a really cool artistic image of both Kup and Recoil. And what I like about it is when you open it up, I can't read any of it obviously, but the instructions here have a little bit of a comic, which is kind of cool. But then you also do have the instructions on the intersection, and then on the back here you have a little bit of a read up. You got his tech specs, and then I did get this translated. And basically it says that Recoil is the partner of Char, which is, I believe it's Kup's Japanese name, and how that Char really does talk a lot about his old experiences, and that as Char or Kup's partner, he gives Kup a sense of security, that he'll always basically have somebody there with them. And there's an appreciation between the two, and that mutual respect is hard to replace. And that Kup really does recognize that with his age, he understands that his kind of advanced nature and basically shortage of power due to his age is basically regained by having Recoil as his partner, which is pretty cool, I think, but I really do like that. Now for the figure, here we have Recoil just plugs in to those previously existing little ports right here, but as you can see, much better color than I initially thought. You can see it is kind of muted green. This is a little bit more teal, I guess, but this is more designed to replicate how he looks in the animation, both the G1 and then a couple episodes of the Headmaster series. Although he never really had a Target Master in the Headmaster series, that wasn't something that was included when the Japanese continued on the series, basically ignoring the fourth season of Transformers, in which he became a Target Master. And that's basically where this comes from. So it is a little bit interesting that Takara is going along with the Target Master thing when he wasn't a Target Master in the series that they created. But really very nice still nonetheless. Now taking a look first at Recoil, as you can see, really nice gun. Obviously he's a Target Master, not too terribly much that you would expect different. I am intrigued by the fact that the front section here is a clear plastic that is painted. It is nicely painted, and you really only notice that it's clear when you look at some of these little posts on there. You can see it's a little bit of a translucent, then when you look from the bottom you can kind of see through it. But much like all the Target Master figures, to transform them you basically just fold down his legs and you flip this piece back. It clips in, you rotate that around. One thing that does get kind of cool is you rotate the waist, and as you rotate his waist you can see that the head and the hips here are actually connected. So as you rotate that around, that brings his head around. So that does limit the articulation, especially here in the head. And then you come down to the legs, you rotate there at the knee, and there you have recoil. And really cool looking. I do like the way that this guy turned out. Some nice paint on there. You got some nice silver and blue painted on the actual head. Good sculpted detail through the body and the arms. Nice silver paint down here in the legs themselves, specifically here the shin. Now, first articulation though, like I said, you are limited in terms of getting his head to rotate by rotating the torso. So that's a little unfortunate. I don't mind it all that much. The arms here though are on ball joints, so you get a decent range of motion. They move in and out, forward and back. Nothing here at the elbow. As you can see, the waist does rotate. The hips do have hinges that allow you to move it forward and back, but it doesn't move in and out or anything, so they're not ball jointed. But the knees are ball jointed, so you can move those forward and back. They can rotate and everything, so decent level of articulation. For the most part though, he's just gonna kind of be like a standalone little piece where he's just gonna sit there like that. I mean, that's really all I'm ever gonna do with him, but I think it looks cool nonetheless. And then setting him kind of to the back, here is the Hasbro release for it. So you can see basically what they were going for with the Hasbro compared to the Takara one is this is the G1 figure, and you can see that the Hasbro one more resembles that. The only thing that's really all that dramatically different is the clear windshield here, as opposed to this one having, you know, the painted one. I'm trying to look. He had the translucent tires, as you can see. I think they might have, yeah, I don't think that these are translucent. I think that these wheels are now just one solid color, but they are molded the same. They just didn't do it in this weird translucent plastic. It wasn't bad or anything. It was just a weird color, I thought. And then what you're also seeing is some of the changes here to the arm. Well, bring it down here. You can kind of sort of see the changes that have been done. Mostly like down here where it gets a little bit more squared off. Now, that's something that really does help to fill things in. When you look at this, the square shoulders here really does nicely kind of contour with the rest of the body. This doesn't. You can see that the changed shoulders leaves this big kind of gap section that doesn't really look all that complete. Now, it's not bad. I think that the best part about this is how he looks in his robot mode, which is what I believe they were going for, making a better looking robot mode. The vehicle mode for the Hasbro one, though, I do think looks a little bit better, especially with that kind of filled in area. You can see you got the, is that the same color? That kind of looks like the same color translucent window, but instead of having it painted down here at the bottom like the Hasbro, or like the Takara one does, you can see that the Hasbro one here is clear, but you have the paint and then the Autobot logo there, whereas the Hasbro one has that painted up here and that's clear. But for the molding differences, that's really it that you're going to notice. It's just a little subtle change right here. The biggest thing that you're going to notice is in the Headmaster. Now, obviously, I forgot this guy's name. I don't remember it, and I don't care to remember. But this is the new cup. And basically, I'm trying to see, let me zoom in so you can see along with me. I want to say that that's the exact same body, and the arms look the same, the legs look the same, the sides look the same. So I believe that's all the same, but obviously you can see some nice, paint applied to the head of the Takara one. But this is where the difference really does shine. Transforming them, obviously, the exact same. When you look at it, like, I have no idea who this is supposed to be. That is Cup. That is awesome. That is a great head sculpt. You can see very well done from all angles. Nice paint, nice sculpting, just a much better representation. So maybe like this is, you could use this as like a younger version of Cup, and this is the old version of him. But I mean, like even the shape of the face, I mean, you can see it's like triangular, whereas Cup's is actually squared off. I mean, that's a huge difference. The crest here, the helmet, everything just looks marked better than the Hasbro one. I don't know what Hasbro was going with this guy. I mean, I have no idea. Now, obviously, you can still have this guy plugged in here. You can also, transform him. I don't think he can actually hold him or anything, but all that stuff is integrated, and you can still take these guys and have them drive their counterparts, which, it's strange to do because it's Cup. So you can take him in there,
and you can put them in just like you could with this guy. Kup was never a Headmaster. He was a Target Master. So people's complaints, I guess, oh, well, I'm not even going to bother putting in there, are valid in the fact that he wasn't a Headmaster. So, I mean, it still resulted in a pretty good toy, and I still like what Hasbro did for him. I just think that this version is much, much better. So taking this guy out, and you can see the kind of size difference here between the Titan Masters, I guess. Big size difference here with them. But the transformation is the exact same, so I'm not going to go ahead and cover it. Oh, one thing I did forget to mention is that these are the guns that Sergeant Kup from Hasbro came with. They split apart. This guy doesn't come with any other guns other than Recoil, so you also don't get this piece included in this. Guess that's a little bit different, but I'm much happier having Recoil. But as I said, the transformation is the exact same, so I am going to go ahead and skip it. If you do need any help with any instructions or anything of that nature, my playlist for the Titans Return figures is available to you. So all you have to do is check that out, look for Kup, and get any help that you may need. But utilizing some of that good old-fashioned Optibotimus movie magic, we're going to go from TargetMaster Kup looking like this to looking like this. And again, this is just a marked improvement over the original, mostly because of what they did to the arms. The color, you know, I'm not one of those kind of people that run out and spend extra money just because they recolored a figure to be a little bit more accurate. What did it for me was the newly molded parts. I just think it looks terrific. Now, obviously, to complete the look, you got to take his head and put it on there. So getting this there. One thing I've noticed, though, is that the head is a little bit trickier to get on. It wants to turn all the time. So getting that in there is a little bit harder to do, and I don't know why, because the head seems to be the exact same. So rotating it, at least for me, seems to fix it a little bit better. It plugs on there a lot nicer. But there you have Kup, and again, just a huge improvement over the way that the original looked. So we might as well do the comparison right away. I'm going to leave Recoil right there. Here is that original Kup, and I mean, it almost looks like a completely different figure. I mean, everything else is the same. I mean, from the body all the way down to the legs, that molding is exactly the same, but you can see that the arms, with the exception of the fist, have been completely well, and I guess you could say the joint as well. But the shoulder section up here, let me look. Yeah, that whole thing, well, is that all different? Yeah, that whole bit here, well, no, that looks a little bit different. So the bicep is the same. A little bit different here at the top, maybe. It's a little bit thinner, but the biggest thing is the little ball section here. And then when you come down to the forearms, that's also completely different. It's a much more animation accurate looking representation. Now, like I said, the color doesn't bother me. If they just took this color and swapped it with this color, I probably would never have bought this figure. It's all because of the way that the arms look. Now, getting this here, bringing in the G1 figure again, you can see that the colors are much more aligned with the G1 and the Hasbro release. This guy's a little bit faded and a little bit more ugly because it is my original toy from when I was a kid. And I guess if you really wanted to, you can pop his head off. You can drop him. You can put his head on there. But that doesn't really look right. I mean, the color's not all that bad. I mean, it doesn't look all that terrible, I guess. But it's just, the body just works so much better with this head and recreating that cartoon look. I absolutely love it. So getting these guys out of here. Obviously, if you do have the original, you can still use these guns, which I probably will do. You can also store them on the back here, just like the original one did, or we can take, here, keep that collapsed down. All right, we can take Recoil. Again, to transform him, we're going to get this out of the way. We're going to rotate the little waist piece around, rotate his knees around, fold this back, clip this down and into place. There's little groove sections here along the side that kind of grab on the upper part of the chest, so that kind of locks it in, and then you just rotate these around. Now, one thing I would say is that there's little slots here, but they don't seem to really, I mean, well, no, they actually do fit in there pretty good. You got to get them in there. You got the little tab section here that kind of slots them in. Oh, no, that didn't do nothing. They don't really, you know, they don't really stay in there all that well. I mean, they are meant to just kind of sit there, but the tabs don't really do much. And then you have his gun, so you can take that and you can plug that in there like so. I mean, that is a cool look. I really do like it, and I gotta zoom in because that's going to end up being my thumbnail. So thumbs up if you notice this is my thumbnail. But just the absolute terrific all-around figure. If you wanted to, you can still take these and you can store that on the back of them, you know, holster his gun, I guess. Now the articulation is the exact same. The head is on a swivel, so you can swivel it all you want. You have a little hinge right here as part of the transformation. Now, one thing that I will say is because they changed this, in transforming him, you bring these up still, and you still bring this around, but what you had before, you can see actually, well, no, I mean, you come around here, and you can see you got that little hole right there that plugged in to that little post. That's not there anymore. So when you bring that up, it just sits there. You still have a little tab there that rotates in, and then you get this out of the way, and you tab that down, but nothing blocks the forearm and the shoulder section. So because of that, it is a little bit more loose, I guess, but really not bad at all. So that transformation is a little bit different just because of the nature of the remolding here. So you do have that. You do have the hinge there. You have the ball joint for the shoulder with a real nice range of motion. Rotates at the upper part of the bicep. You got two hinges, obviously, as part of the transformation for the elbow. I guess you could kind of say that the wrists move outward. Again, just as part of the transformation, but that is there. Waist, swivel! Yeah, I'm doing it, Jobby. You got a ball joint here for the hips, in and out, forward and back. A swivel at the upper part of the thigh. You got a hinge here at the knee, and then you got a toe that can point like that. So overall, terrific figure. If you have the money and want a more cartoon accurate representation, both in terms of color and sculpting, this guy is a must-have. He really is probably the best Kup figure that we have ever gotten officially. I won't go say that he's a masterpiece because he definitely doesn't have that full animation accurate look, but this really does nail it. Maybe you could complain that he's a little bit thin here. I mean, he is kind of thin, but so was the original. I love this toy. I'm really amazed by it, and I didn't think I was going to be that impressed. Because like I said, I don't just buy them when they're repainted, but the mold changes that they did to the guy really do warrant picking this guy up, at least in my opinion. And that being said, if this is a figure that you'd like to add to your collection, he is available right now at Big Bad Toy Store. So all you have to do for that is click on the link down in the video description. You'll go to BBTS where you can check out availability on this guy, as well as the rest of the wide range of TakaraTomy Transformer figures. But beyond that, guys, that's about it. So once again, I want to thank you for tuning in. This has been Optibotimus. Don't forget that if you like this video, to please hit that thumbs up button. It really does go a long way towards helping me out, and I would absolutely appreciate it. Also, if you're new here, be sure to subscribe in case you haven't already subscribed. That way, you'll get instant email notifications whenever I upload a new video, and you'll never miss out on a future review of mine. Or hey, if you're already subscribed, now more than ever, it's important to make sure that you're getting those email notifications. I've said it before, but we all know just how unreliable that YouTube subscription box is. So do me a real quick favor and click on that little bell right below this video and double check your settings to make sure that they're set so that you get those email notifications. And as always, until next time, till all are one.